This was actually sent to them during the pandemic, and because they were closed during a period, it got put in storage, and they kind of forgot about it until about 2 weeks ago, and they uncovered it in the box. What it was this is Skipper's original one and only hat from Gilligan's Island. Well, good day, my friends. It's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How y'all doing today? Coming to you from the windy city of Chicago. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins right now. What is that, the Chicago Sea? There's Al's Italian Beef. That is not where we're going today, I'm sorry. The train's up above. So what we're gonna do today is go to the Museum of Broadcasting, because when I was a kid, I loved the Bozo show. Bozo, Cookie, Wizzo, all of them, and they have quite an exhibit there dedicated to Bozo I hear. And look at that, we're walking right past Harry Carey's restaurant and bar. The great Cubs announcer. That's all right. There's gonna be some Cubs in Wrigley Field in my future. Take a look at that. The sign is a big baseball bat. Right here on Harry Carey Drive. And here it is, Museum of Broadcast Communications. Look at that, as soon as you come in, they talk about the inventing history of Hedy Lamarr and how important she was to radio. And look at all these old classic style radios you probably all grew up with. Right here, this is really cool. They're talking about the debate, the presidential debate between Nixon and Kennedy, and that's the camera that was used to televise the first great debate. Wow, September 26, 1960 from Studio 2 in Chicago. Then this talks about how an Associated Press wire machine would have been found in every newsroom in America for decades, and this one has the actual bulletin from when Kennedy was assassinated and they announced his death. 18 months later. Oh, this is interesting. This was a security map that security made planning for anything they might need during the presidential debate. This is a collection of radio tubes. That beautiful warm sound coming from the glass tubes. So here, of course, they got to talk about Charlie McCarthy. He was a major star, and they even have his master's degree from Northwestern University, the honorary degree, Master of Innuendo and Snappy Comebacks. And then here they have an honorary wooden Oscar with movable mouth for Charlie McCarthy, presented to Edgar Bergen in 1938. Look at the movable mouth. And there they are with it. And take a look at this. They actually have some of the real puppets that Edgar Bergen used. They have Mortimer Snerd. Mortimer's deliberate manner of speaking and dim-witted behavior served as a sharp contrast to the fast-talking, crafty Charlie McCarthy. Charlie McCarthy was Bergen's best-known pine pal. Got his name from a newspaper boy named Charlie and from the carpenter who carved him. And then, wow, that's really cool. Looking dapper too. And then we have Effie Clinker. First heard on the air in 1944. Now, I just talked to somebody that worked here, and they told me a couple of really interesting things. They said, actually, a lot of people don't know, there's only 2 Charlie McCarthys that were original in existence. One was actually asked for by the Smithsonian. So the Smithsonian got one of the Charlie McCarthys, the original, and one of the Mortimers. This is the only Effie that there ever was. Now, for some reason, they were telling me here, they don't actually have these on display at the Smithsonian, so these are the only ones that you can actually go see. The family gave them to the museum here many years ago because they were from this area. Now, what else is interesting is they said these would have been the ones that would have been used in the movies. And the award that we saw, the wooden Oscar, that's the only honorary Oscar that they've ever given to a non-living thing, a non-human entity, person, whatever. I thought that was worth including. This is cool. This is the Paul Harvey studio, and they have an Art Laboe control room in there. And it says Radio Hall of Fame on all of the microphones inside that room. This is WGN Radio Studio A, it says. That's cool. Wow. I grew up on WGN, even though I lived in Ohio. The TV WGN, we could get that station every day and watch Cubs games and, of course, Bozo. Now we're walking into the, oh, this is great. This is exactly the kind of stuff I want to see. This is from the Mole Queens. I actually didn't see that show, but it's Pandora's costume worn by Elaine Mulqueen on Kitty A Go-Go. That was a little before my time. Oh, and there she is wearing it on Kitty A Go-Go. But they have Oprah's doors from the Oprah Winfrey Show. Of course, she was big time Chicago broadcasting legend. Entering the Oprah Winfrey Show, these doors were in place until a set design revamp for the program's 20th season. They came with stories to tell, talking about entertainment, the arts, health, personal and spiritual growth. Oprah began her national distribution from Chicago in 1986, and within weeks it was the country's most watched daytime talk show. You can see there's a strip missing up there. There's a couple of like nail holes. I always kind of like to see stuff like that. That is kind of epic. My grandma liked Oprah. She used to watch Oprah when I was growing up. Then check this out. This is all Svengoolie stuff. Very cool. Even a picture of Billy Corgan and Svengoolie together. Of course, Svengoolie hosts these crazy late night B movies and horror movies and things like that. Legend. That's his whole set. Look at that. That is so cool. You're not gonna believe what's behind me. Wait till you see this. I don't want to take away from Svengoolie's moment, but wow. That is really cool. The grand prize game, which can only mean one thing, which I always wanted to play the grand prize game. That was just, you know, I think every kid's dream was to be on Bozo. Holy smoke! Oh my god, how awesome. Right? Now there were a couple of Bozos, but I loved Bozo. Love the Bozo show. Cuddly Dudley. Oh, that is so cool. I don't recognize that outfit, so that the Ray Rayner show, that must have been before my time, obviously. And then this was Rusty. And Joey DeAra's costume from when he was Bozo. He's the Bozo I grew up with. That is so cool, man. Ah. God, I just loved Bozo. His voice, his humor, everything. Look, they even have the original, the grand prize game that I was showing you was like for you to do as a little like prop thing, but look at that. That is so cool. And then Marshall Brodine's costume behind, he was Wizzo. That's really neat. Oh, that is so cool. There's Marshall Brodeen as Wizzo. And there's Professor Andy's costume. He would always play the keyboard and everything and lead us off to the parade to end the show. Oh man, it was so sad to see that they had to end the Bozo show. Billy Corgan was on the last episode. Oh, okay, so this is Bob Bell. That was his costume. He was probably right before me. I think he was the Bozo from the 70s. But Cookie, God love Cookie. He was so great. Roy Brown. Cookie's outfit. Ah, that's so cool. And then that's what they would pull the names out of. Look at that. There they are with that big drum, and look who they're with. Jacksons! There's a young little Janet. Look at that. Tito, Jermaine, Michael, Marlon. That's so cool. This is what I came for. This experience is what I came for. To be up close and personal. Like, this is the closest I'll ever get to Bozo. Such a shame that, you know, clowns have such a bad connotation now, because I remember growing up just loving this show and thinking how much fun it would be to be on the Bozo show. And even if you look right here, you can see there's the parade. That's the baton he would always start the parade with. That's great. Then in the back, he was a little before my time, and he was a legend too. I'd seen a documentary about him. And then that was Sandy's costume. It is just absolutely spellbinding to be here looking at the Bozo set with the camera, the old WGN camera. Does it get any better than that? Crazy to think, if you never saw my vlog on me knowing Bozo, I didn't know the Chicago Bozos. I knew the guy who owned Bozo. It originally came out as a record, and this guy that I knew used to come in, his name was Larry, and he used to come into a restaurant I worked at, and one day somebody said, "You know who that is? That's the guy that owns Bozo. He was the original Bozo." And sure enough, yeah, he bought the rights to Bozo and then franchised it in different local markets, but Chicago, I feel like, was the most well-known. Now, I don't recognize this stuff, but it has all their names, so it kind of helps. It says Fraser Thomas, the Prime Minister's costume. And there's a picture of Fraser in here with all of these characters. So that's Beauregard Burnside, the third. Romberg Rabbit back there. Garfield Goose, Macintosh Mouse, and Chris Goose, and there he is. Then here they have something to Cartoon Town. You can see they're showing some of the episodes. BJ and Dirty Dragon. Maynard Thumpedwanger. This place is great already. The old professor back there. Dirty Dragon, the postmaster. There they are. That's great. That's so cool. And then there's the Blob. They also give some credit to Tesla. Of course, Samuel Morse, Alexander Graham Bell, Thomas Edison. This is talking about Eleanor Roosevelt being the First Lady of Radio in 1932 on December 9th. Eleanor Roosevelt is introduced as distinguished and charming on her first NBC broadcast. Roosevelt will deliver more than 300 radio shows. Listening to First Lady becomes a national habit. And they're also talking about Franklin Roosevelt saying that Radio irrevocably changes the country past its infancy. Radio matures quickly into one of the globe's most powerful forces, a part of daily life on every level: government, business, culture, education, and entertainment. We're talking about how they relayed the news of the Hindenburg to the people. Also, the Joe Louis fight that lasted 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And, of course, Orson Welles' War of the Worlds that scared everyone to death. Mercury Theater did a radio broadcast on CBS microphone at 8 p.m. October 30th, 1938 of War of the Worlds. That is really cool. That is the very first commercially manufactured transistor radio. Before your iPod and everything else, there was this. Before the Walkman and the Discman. Look at that, 1954. Then of course you gotta give Bob Hope his due. U.S. Army Airborne jacket was often worn by legendary comedian Bob Hope when he took the stage to perform in Vietnam. Hope is fondly remembered by U.S. servicemen and women for the many years he entertained troops and showed his connection to them by wearing his military jacket. That's very cool. Here's their Chicago Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And the people that they've put in there, pretty great. Got Amos and Andy, Don Amici, which was, I was kind of surprised by that one. Great actor Don Amici. You also have Benny Goodman. One of my favorites, the great Harry Carey. Holy cow! The National Barn Dance. Gene Autry. Jack Brickhouse. Talks about broadcaster Larry Lujack, who would never use email, text, or any social media. He would do everything from his typewriter. That typewriter. Now in this room is the Radio Broadcast Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at some of my favorites. Well, that's really cool because my friend Kevin, that has been on my vlog many times, he was the producer for Hollywood Hamilton's show for years in Hollywood. Dr. Ruth. Here's Bob and Tom. I used to wake up listening to Bob and Tom when I was in high school. And a lot of these are signed, which is great. Of course, you gotta put on Howard Stern, legend. And he's right next to Ronald Reagan. Really cool to see they have Dr. Demento in here, as well as one of my all-time favorites, the great Art Bell. Cincinnati Reds broadcaster Marty Brennaman, before the haircut. And Abbott and Costello. Oh gosh, you have to mention Bing Crosby. I mean, he was the biggest thing of his day. As you can see, there are tons and tons of people. We couldn't possibly show everyone because, as you know, I mean, there were, well, Vin Scully, there were people on radio, there were people known for, well, here's the Burns and Allen show, so Rush Limbaugh. Just kind of a hodgepodge of Grand Ole Opry. This is the set for Meet the Press. And you can sit here and use it for photos. That's kind of interesting. Tim Russert. So I think I'm gonna, like I'm a guest. I never watched Meet the Press, but I definitely flipped through and saw it on TV. I just didn't really, you know, I was in junior high and high school and stuff. I didn't really follow politics then at all. I don't really follow politics that much now. But it's really cool to see this set. Just like it was cool to go to the Comedy Center and see this set for the Larry Sanders Show. Pretty neat. So here was the set. You can see the backdrop is right over here with all the Meet the Press squares. There's the table, and it says that it was the America's most watched #1 Sunday morning public affairs broadcast. The longest running program on network television, having made its NBC debut in 1947, and it was around even 2 years before that as a radio program. That's a very cool set. And take a look, if you look right in the very, very, very front, the old NBC peacock. And look at the wear and tear on it down here. There's a guy that works here that just told me some really cool stuff about this right here. And he said this was actually sent to them during the pandemic, and because they were closed during a period, it got put in storage, and they kind of forgot about it until about 2 weeks ago, and they uncovered it in the box. What it was this is Skipper's original one and only hat from Gilligan's Island. When the show ended, he bronzed it and gave it to Sherwood Schwartz as a gift, and the family kept it around for years, and then eventually sent it here, along with lyrics for the song, the theme song. And what's interesting is that Skipper, Alan Hale, afterward had a restaurant in Los Angeles on La Cienega called Skipper's. It was like a seafood restaurant, and he had to go out and buy a replica hat to wear around there because he had given away his original hat to, well, as you see right here, to Sherwood Schwartz. So there's a plaque on it, you can see. This is the original Skipper's hat that Hale had bronzed in a gesture of appreciation for the role of a lifetime he gave to Gilligan's Island series creator Sherwood Schwartz.
Make sure to subscribe to this guy.
They're moving away from this logo, so you won't be seeing this one much longer. So as I'm walking through the gift shop, I saw this and I said, you know what, I gotta get one of these. It's like a trash bucket made to look like the grand prize game, and that's what I grabbed my little ping pong balls to play the game with back there. They said they actually only made 20 of these for sale, so I'm getting one. Right, guys? All right, my friends, I hope you guys enjoyed today's vlog. This place was a total trip. I loved every single freaking second of it. And if you ever get to Chicago, you gotta check it out. This is just an unbelievable experience. Just all fun. It's all fun. I've had a smile on my face since I came in, from Gilligan's Island to the Great Debate to the Bozo show to Svengoolie. It's awesome. If you're new here, please hit the like button, please subscribe, please ring the bell for notifications, and we'll see y'all next time. Have a great night, and goodbye. Use that baton and take it away for me, Bozo.